Moon gang. What is going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are, wherever you are. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are having a phenomenal day thus far, folks. Hey, 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 hey. All right, all right, all right. Let's get it Let's get after it today. Today, Wednesday, July 28th. Actually, a decent amount of things to talk about today, just to kind of get everyone set for the day. First thing related to AMC, don't forget that it is the final day to vote. The date of record was June 2nd. Basically, if you own stock on June 2nd, you will be able to vote for the shareholder meeting that is coming up tomorrow. Let me hop into this right here. It is the stockholder meeting, July 29th. You can vote today. Unfortunately, this doesn't necessarily pertain to every single owner of June 2nd. If you're overseas, depending where you are, where you aren't, you might have a tough time. Many brokerages ended up sending out emails of like, oh, you can vote in the email. A couple of the other ones decided to call people and get the vote through that. So it does depend on your brokerage of how they're going to collect your vote, of how they originally reached out to you. So just be on the lookout for that. But today's the final day to vote. And just understand that if you're overseas, you might have more issues. You might not even be allowed to. There are some problems with that. Specific to the vote, originally for this particular meeting, there was going to be 5 proposals to vote on, but please understand, as of July 6th, they removed proposal number 1. We will no longer be voting on the authority to issue 25 million shares, which could potentially lead to dilution. No one's voting on that. It's not happening. We're not going to give anyone the authority to do additional dilution because it's just not going to be voted on. They scrapped this as of July 6th. So we're basically just voting on board of directors, the appointment of a new public accounting firm, compensation for named executives, and then basically to adjourn the meeting. So you're only voting on these bottom 4, just so everyone knows. Today's the final day to vote, but you had to own shares on June 2nd. Another thing, and I'll quickly go over this, and maybe in the afternoon session, I'll explain what it means, but I'll just give you the quick rundown right now. Related to GME, it was announced last night that it's going to be put into the S&P 400. This is... let me think of the best way to explain it. So the S&P 500 is for large cap stocks, as in cap, as in their market cap, as in the company's overall value. It's 500 of the biggest companies in the US, and that's the one we check out when we're looking at the barometer of the overall market. A lot of the times you're going to hear about the Russell 2000. So maybe the best way for me to actually explain it is, let's start off with the Russell 3000. That's the top 3,000 companies. And the bottom 2,000 is the Russell 2000. The top 1,000 is the Russell 1000, and the S&P 500 is kind of within that. But in between those two, like, and the bottom part of the Russell 1000, but still above the Russell 2000, is the S&P 400. So that's 400 mid-cap stocks. So it goes large cap, mid-cap, small cap, and like there's different ones that track all of these, blah, blah, blah. But just so you know, S&P 400. This one, I believe, let me just double check. I believe it's tracked by MYD. Oop, don't want to do that. I believe it is tracked by MYD. MDY, maybe? MDY. Right here, MDY mid-cap. So not MYD, MDY. Sorry, I misspoke. But this is it. To be completely frank and honest with you, this is not one I personally have much experience with. I mainly watch the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, and the Nasdaq 100, and sometimes the Dow. But this one's tracked by MDY, just for anyone who's curious. And it was announced last night that GameStop got put into the S&P 400. Speaking of the S&P 500, those big cap stocks I was just talking about, let's go back to this, tracked by SPY. It looks like we're having a gap up this morning. Good chance that this relates to 3 very good earnings announcements. Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet, aka Google, aka the people who own YouTube, all had their earnings last night. And just here's a little bit of taste. Apple demolishes earnings expectations, but stock falls after iPhone chip supply warning. So these chips, there is definitely a lack of supply in these chips for apparently iPhones. We see it in computers, laptops. Myself, when I try to get a new PC, they're all the GPUs, the graphics processing chip semiconductors, such as, think of the companies NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, those huge lack of supply, high demand. But overall, Apple reported strong fiscal third quarter earnings Tuesday, demolishing Wall Street's expectations. And that's what's going on with Apple. Microsoft posts big earnings beat and gives optimistic revenue forecast right there. They also raised their guidance, which is pretty awesome. And then for Google advertising revenue rises 69% from last year. It was up 3% in post-market trading after the announcements. YouTube, I thought this was a little interesting. YouTube revenue came in over $7 billion, up 83% from last year, drawing close to Netflix's quarterly revenue, which was $7.34 billion. 83% rise in YouTube revenue. That is huge. That is gigantic. So overall, though, Apple beat, Microsoft beat, Google beat. That probably explains why the overall market's going up. I mean, Apple alone is what, $2.5 trillion, maybe even a little bit north of that. Biggest company in the world right now. When they beat on earnings, that's going to be good for the overall market. And more specific is QQQ. This is the Nasdaq 100. Before, when I was talking about all these individual indices, the S&P 500, S&P 400, the Russell 2000, blah, 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 all those. The Nasdaq 100 is another one. This is 100 of the biggest companies, but it has more of a technology focus. So that's where your tech companies are going to be in. So people track the Nasdaq 100. One of the ETFs that track that is the QQQ. It'll also be referred to as the Qs, but I just wanted to point out why it's gapping up $1.50. It's because major tech companies all beat on their earnings. For some other earnings, I know Shopify is reporting this morning, and then Boeing also reported this morning. So you can look into that if those are companies you have been particularly tracking lately. Let me see what else is going on. Oh, in terms of crypto, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren says digital currency and central bank digital currency may be an answer to help unbanked into the financial system. Kind of strange for her to say this. Previously, she's said negative things about crypto. So this is kind of, I don't know. It's interesting. She seems a little bit flippant on it. But anyway, crypto is still continuing its trip upward. Bitcoin coming off of 34,000 at 40,000, hit 41 pretty much on this. Ethereum coming from 2,000 up to 2,300. We still have Cardano trugging upwards. Doge holding still above 20 cents. So I just wanted to keep you guys all apprised of that because I know some people in here still paying attention to crypto. And the other thing, this was Boeing's. They beat on their revenue, but they also mentioned that they expect to deliver fewer than half of the 787s in inventory. So a little bit of a mixed bag there going on with Boeing, which trades under the ticker BA. Throughout the day, we can obviously check on Apple, Microsoft, and Google just to see what's going on and how the market really reacts to its overall, I guess, the earnings and what they are or aren't saying. I do want to point out, though, this guy, Walter Bloomberg, Delta One, has some good information here. Just a lot of market updates if you just kind of want to get that as they're coming in live. All right. So don't forget to vote if you owned AMC as of June 2nd. That was the date of record. AMC currently trading at 37.44. GME currently trading at 177. Let's do a quick Ortex update. Borrowed change, 52,000 borrowed against AMC. As of now, that's pretty much flat. Short interest officially above 15%. Utilization, 89.83. Shares on loan, 87.87 million. Short interest, 15%. The one thing I want to point out here, people on Twitter noticed, how can the short interest go up and the shares on loan go up, but the utilization drop? This is a little bit of a mathematical trick, but please remember what utilization is. Utilization is simply the amount of shares on loan divided by the total loanable shares. Both are dynamic. They can change throughout the day, intraday, all that good stuff. X divided by Y. Shares on loan divided by the total amount of loanable shares. How could this drop but shares on loan go up? Well, if X divided by Y and that number goes up, if the result, that ratio goes up, and X, the top number, goes up, that means that Y has to increase by an even larger magnitude relative to X for that to drop. So what this is telling me is just that overall pool of people who are willing to lend shares is increasing, and it's increasing greater than the amount of shares that actually went on loan. And this is a good reminder for all of you. If you don't want your shares of AMC, GME, or any of your shares lent out at all, depending on your brokerage, reach out to see if you can turn it off. I know some of these, like if you have Robinhood Gold, you can. On Webull, you can do it in your settings. These other ones, it depends on your brokerage if they do or don't allow you to do it. But if you do not want your shares lent out, check your settings, call your brokerage, see if it's possible, something along those lines. But something worthwhile to look into. Myself, I have my share lending turned off. It's a personal decision, and it's everyone's personal decision, but I just want to give you a reminder of that. If you don't want your shares lent out, make sure you have share lending turned off, and the methodology of how you do it can be different based on what your actual brokerage is. All right. Here we go. AMC 37. Sorry. Someone else actually had this question. The average duration of shares on loan here. Let me go. Let's look at some of these data trends. So right now it's actually increasing. The average age of shares being out on loan is right now 39 days. At one point, we were as high as 57, 58 days. We came all the way down to 31. This is when we saw a small amount of shorts cover, a small amount. And we also saw new shorts entering the game in mid to later June. That's why it dropped from 58 down to 31. But since then, we are tracking back upwards. At one point, we were at 42. We're now around 39 days. That's for AMC. In terms of GME, let's check these out. We are currently around 28 days, coming off of a high of 47 days. So overall, if you don't have that much time to listen to me today, AMC, GME, the shorts have not covered. There's still considerable short interest betting against both AMC and GME. It costs nothing for us to hold. It costs nothing at all for us to hold. You hold your shares, you're not paying a fee or anything like that. Really, time is on our side, because if you have shares on loan, even if you're not short, you can take shares out on loan and not short, you're still paying a cost to borrow fee. So every single day this drags on, it costs them more and more money, especially obviously if the stock's not real, if it's going sideways or up, that really, really hurts them. So if you're betting against the stock, not only do you need it to drop, but you need to drop relatively quickly, because they're paying a fee every single day to be betting against the stock. And that's the borrow fee of what's going on. Obviously, day over day, that starts to add up, even with these considerable positions. I mean, you could just do a rough estimate, but it adds up day over day. So quick reminder, AMC and GME, the shorts have not covered. Both of them in the most conservative floor estimate possible. That's what this is, the most conservative floor estimate. Ortex is not saying this is what the short interest is. It's saying, hey, based on 85% of transactional volume from legal, legitimate trading and shares and shorting and borrowing, AMC's at 15% and GME's at 13.84%. We are missing 15% of the legal, legitimate picture, and we are missing 100% of the illegal, illegitimate picture, aka naked shorting and all these other shenanigans that they pull. So when I'm saying this is exactly what I mean when Ortex, it's better than nothing, but please understand that it's the conservative floor value. If anything, the short interest, the shares on loan, all these numbers for AMC and GME are higher. They're not going to be calibrated lower when you get the rest of the picture. If anything, this is just the floor value. So we're using it because it gives us a baseline. It gives us the trends to follow. But if you're looking for pure magnitude, it's safe to say that you can kind of notch it up. It's just the golden question is how much can you really turn the dial up on it? And that's one of the inherent issues of what's going on in our system is these naked shorts, these positions going on, they're not reported. By definition, they're not reported, so we don't have that data source. So unless you are the prime broker allowing it to happen and you somehow share that information, or if you're the market maker and you know how many shares you've sold and you're now covering up with like deep in the money calls to make it seem like you're net neutral, you have to almost be inside to these companies to know like the true position of what's going on. Beyond that, unless you have that insider knowledge, I mean, honestly, your guess is as good as mine. But the clear takeaway here is the shorts have not covered. These numbers are the floor estimate value. And even with those, even with the most conservative floor estimate value, that's still quite a bit of money betting against what's going on in AMC and GME. Quite a bit. All right, what kind of questions we have? We have how much time? About 15 minutes, a little less than 15 minutes. And let me get to some of these. Morning. Morning, apes. Have a great day. Good morning, Ape Nation. I got suspended from YouTube last night, but I'm back with my new name. I ain't leaving. JW, what's going on? YouTube will only go up. The Google Movies and TV app recently merged with YouTube. Keep the content up. I need my daily listen to at work. Shout out. Matt Robinhood said if you're using margin, they can loan out your shares without your approval, and you cannot turn that off until your margin is paid. Danny, thank you for that update. Is average days on loan weighted for the number of shares loaned, or is it just strictly about when they borrowed the shares? Thanks for everything. To my understanding, it is weighted. So if you loaned out 100 10 days ago and then like one yesterday, obviously the weight would be further back. So that means that the newer shorts are getting out, thus raising the average day on loan because the old ones are still in there. No, not necessarily. It could be. There's various mathematical things that could explain it. That is one possible explanation, but it also could be the older shorts getting out and then the newer shorts still holding. Like that would also mathematically explain the situation, Travis. Good question. Matt, thank you for fighting the good fight every day. The AMC fight is insane, and we apes must diamond hand this stock to the moon. Shout out, Scott, JW, becoming an astronaut. Any thoughts on dark pool restrictions for AMC? I thought I made this very, very clear yesterday. I am in no way a fan of, and I just so you know, 00790 Krieg, this isn't necessarily what's going on. Like, I'm not bashing on your comment here. Me, Matt Kohrs, Duck Guy, Agile Chris Hemsworth, El Tigre, whatever you want to call me, I do not think it is good that a majority of trading, a rather high majority of trading, happens in what is a dark pool, which is inherently a less regulated environment. If more and more trading is done in a less and less regulated environment, to me, that adds up to a situation where more and more shenanigans could be happening. Overall, I do understand why dark pools were created in the first place. I understand the fact that, like, these big institutions, the big players, want to be able to make trades that are not having an unwarranted impact on a stock by just showing their size. They're keeping their cards close to their heart and they're close to their chest, and it allows for more of a competitive environment. I get how dark pools are initially pitched and the concept of them. The issue with it is that pitch of how dark pools are like, hey, this is what we're supposed to be using them for, it seems to not be actually how they're being used. And what I mean by that is if you look at dark pools and the block sizes and the kind of the pattern of that trading, it is very much not these large block sizes of how they're initially pitched of, hang on, I get it. They increase liquidity. They increase various things, the overall market efficiency. The issue is that we're seeing immense amounts of little trades. So to me personally, and this is where it kind of deviates from what we factually know to a bit of theory, to me, that is screaming the fact that high frequency trading, these very, very fancy schmancy HFT algos are running absolutely rampant. They're making a little bit of money off of like a huge amount of trading volume. It's not these big block players at ETFs, pension funds trying to get a massive fill or trying to get out of a massive position. It does not seem to be that. That's not what the data suggests. The data suggests that high frequency trading is running absolutely rampant in a less regulated environment. And when I say running rampant, I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally, because I mean, off exchange, not on these lit exchanges such as the Nasdaq, the New York Stock Exchange, it's common for us to push 70-80% of AMC GME trading volume in dark pools, which I just don't see how it could be good that only 20% of trading is in a highly regulated environment, while the leftover 80% is in, by definition, a less regulated environment. So to me, I don't know. I guess the opportunity is one or the other, of either you suspend them, you get rid of them, or you create them to be a little bit more regulated, as they are in other countries. But I mean, to me, just on the surface level, like, such an incredible amount of volume done in an environment that, like, we just don't, like, the name dark pools, like, we don't have the optics into, seems a bit weird to me. So with all that being said, like, the reason I dislike them is kind of, some people dislike them for the same reason I do. Other people argue, no, it's like a competitive environment, they should be fine. And then other people also dislike them the same way I do, but for a different reasoning. So like, you have the whole gambit of what people's opinions are and aren't on them. That's my opinion. It just seems silly to have so much volume in a less regulated environment. I would like them to just be either suspended or get them to a regulation where people can have more trust in the market system at large, that something crazy isn't going on there that could be detrimental to the stock market. Based on the chart, do you think SPRT will rip at open or sell off? Not financial advice. I know it's a pump and dump. Specifically at open, Carl, I mean, that would be a pure guess on my point. I don't really know what's going on with them. SPRT. I mean, it's a huge gap up. Support.com. I don't know if it's going to hold. I don't know the news. I don't know why it's gapping up. To me, that's just, it's a roll of the roulette wheel to play that one, Carl. Whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. But that's that's definitely not my play. Like, that's just a guess of sorts. People are saying it's not a pump and dump. I mean, I don't really know much about it, if I'm being honest. I could tell you what the short interest is on it. SPRT. Let me pull this up over here. SPRT. Based on the Nasdaq. High short interest of 65%. So it has a high short interest. But like I said, I don't know what the news is. I don't know why it's gapping up. So I definitely don't know if it's going to hold that gap up. But I do want to get the Qs. Hang on. QQQ. Nasdaq 100. And all right, we have that. AAPL. MSFT. Let's get this up on the watch list. Look at this. Microsoft. Crazy action. And then we also have Google, Alphabet. Gotta call it Alphabet these days. Let's get this on the watch list. Perfect. We are ready for open, folks. Let's see how this all goes. All right. AMC, for my audio listeners, currently at 37.27 and GME at 178. Let's see what the market open brings us. If you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I really like to wait those first 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, 30 minutes after market opens. Just, there's too much volatility, too much crazy swings, and I don't like getting whipsawed. Sometimes that does add up to you missing a good trade, a good position. But for me, anecdotally, time over time, it is net beneficial for me to sit on my own hands for the first 15 minutes and just see how things are really shaking out, especially on days like Monday when we have like the weekend news and all that stuff. I know today is Wednesday. I'm just stating in general, like, if there were particular days of the week that I care even more about the rule, it's definitely going to be a Monday. All right. Bitcoin just below 40,000. Dogecoin holding on to 20 cents. Ethereum 2,300. Google up 1.5%. Microsoft up 1%. And then we have Apple that is actually currently down. I guess that chip issue is being priced in. People are not happy with that chip issue, but it did still technically beat their earnings. All right. Is this phone all charged? Let's get ready for the day. We have about 5 minutes. What would it take for them to suspend dark pool AMC? My assumption is that there would have to be some sort of, I guess, evidence or secondary evidence that suggests something illicit is going on. Like someone would have to produce evidence of manipulation or something like that, like hardcore evidence that the SEC could actually try a case on, and then from there they would, I guess, be able to suspend it. But that's just my guess. I mean, I don't know the legalities on what would or wouldn't happen relating to suspending a dark pool, but just my overall guess is that it would come back down to like some sort of hardcore proof or secondary proof that's enough for them to like look into it further. Does the Citadel, does the China ETF Golden Dragon have high short squeeze potential? Could you take a look? I don't know what the ETF ticker is. Let me look it up. It's pretty rare for ETFs themselves to have. What is this one? Investico. What is the ETF? But in general, it's kind of a rarity to have a large short interest against an ETF, because usually ETFs by nature are so diverse because it's a basket of stocks. So generally, if you're trying to target the weakest one, you just short the actual stock that you're trying to short and not an entire ETF, unless you're against a sector at large, such as esports or something like that. I know some people bet against industries at large, and that's what you could do with an ETF, but generally you never see a sizable one. Generally, I'm sure there are exceptions. I'm trying to get is it PGJ? I think it's PGJ. Let me look it up for you right before the market opens. PGJ. No, according to Ortex, it has no considerable short interest. I mean, it has some, but nothing like AMC or GME. Powell speaking. So today is day 2 of the Fed meeting, so I'm sure there'll be some sort of recap. Generally, that happens in the afternoon. If average 39.5 days for AMC, that would put the bag short position around 59, approximately 40 days ago, meaning they're ahead on these positions. It would mean that some are and some aren't. That doesn't mean when they all got in, obviously you're averaging it. So there's some loans or some shares that went on loan yesterday and some that went on probably weeks or potentially even multiple months ago. Right now, we know some shorts are in a profitable position and others are underwater. We're going to see a lot of them go underwater, like a high majority of current shorts go underwater when the stock tracks above that key psychological level at 50. That would be very, very bad for a high majority of shorts. Remember, it's just when you're averaging, you're averaging. Some are months old, some are days old, maybe a day old. Not being negative, but still buying and holding. But how low could AMC really fall? If it fell 20%, wouldn't hedges pounce on that low price, cover the shorts, and drive the price back up? That's it depends the functionality in which they all decide to do that. When they decide to do it, the price they decide to do it, there are, I guess, various things to consider. It's not like there's going to be one general perfect solution. Hey, ding, 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 folks. The casino is open. All right, let's see how this all settles out. All right. AMC looks like it's already trying to push 38, 37, 60. All right. The casino is open. Ding, ding, ding. Dingity, ding, ding, ding. Calm, cool, collected. You folks know how it is. You folks know how it is. GME 174. We know 175-ish is support. AMC 3750. Come on, AMC. Looks hungry for that 38. Let's see how this ends up playing out. All right, all right, all right. All right, AMC, come on. Wait, what is, let's do a quick peek at the overall market. We've, over the past 2 weeks, we've really seen that IWM has been tracking with AMC. A little bit of a deviation thus far this morning, but remember those first 15 minutes, we've seen it time and again where it's kind of a wild opening. So calm, cool, collected. Let's sit back. Let's see what's actually playing out. Let's see where we can base or something like that. I really don't like to make any major decisions on just like the first couple minutes. Too much whipsawing involved. In the bottom right, we have the Qs. Remember, that's the Nasdaq 100, the ETF that tracks that. All right, GME bouncing off of 174 all the way up to 176.13 right now. And then AMC trying to make its mind up on the day, kind of mid-range right now, 37.40-ish. IWM pushing. All right, let's zoom in here. Let me do this. Da, da, da. All right, we are here. AMC right now 36.88. RSI somewhat neutral, just below neutral. What's Apple doing? Apple down 2.5%. Remember, they are missing on those chips. I guess that is not being received the best. All right, what else do we have going on? Q's Tech looked good this morning, now getting hit. GME trying to make up its mind. 150,000 shares on GME thus far, and then AMC 36.90. All right, we're just waiting for opening, and then we'll check out any of the news, anything along those lines. All right, what else do we have here? What other questions do we have today? Matt, can you explain a reverse split and why it would happen? Pros and cons. Pickle me timbers. This name, ridiculous. I love it. So first, well, let's talk about a split and a reverse split. The main thing you need to know about it is it doesn't really fundamentally change anything about a company in terms of its market cap. It's not like a share dilution where you have completely new shares that are being sold that like might or might hurt the market cap of a company. Splits don't do that. Imagine having a $5 bill and turning it into 5 $1 bills. You have more bills, and in this case, when you do a split, you have more shares, but you still have the same total amount of money, and in this scenario, the same market cap. So if a stock is trading at 100 and you do a 2-for-1 split, you now have double the amount of shares, but they're trading at half the price. Fundamentally, it doesn't change anything, but it could have psychological implications. People perceive it that it's cheaper, even though it's really not, because the company still has the same overall value. So that could get a bit problematic. Well, not problematic. It means you can see swings in the company, even though it doesn't necessarily relate to something changing in the market cap of that company. A reverse split would be the exact opposite. You would have 5 $1 bills and turn it into a $5 bill. So a lot less shares, but now they're more expensive. So that almost could have the other psychological implication of people now perceive it to be more valuable and more expensive of a company. Previously, before the era of fractional share trading, you saw more of that psychological implication of people either buying or selling because they just thought it was more or less valuable. But now, I mean, I was reading some study a while ago at this point that with the rise of fractional share trading, you're really not seeing many moves because people now can just be like, well, I don't really want to buy a full share. I'll just buy X amount of dollars. So if they do that, it doesn't really matter because $200 is going to be $200 for us. So not really pros and cons. Well, the pros and cons, there are pros and cons, but they're more psychological than anything else. In 2020, Apple and Tesla both announced a stock split. And what we saw was from the announcement up until the split, the stock actually ran. And then right after the split, they dropped. And we actually saw a similar thing recently with NVIDIA. People psychologically get excited, they buy it up. But really it's not, you're not improving the company, or it's not a negative or positive for the company's actual market cap. That's going to stay the same. It's just the amount of shares, and then the price moves proportionately inversely in the opposite direction. If you double the shares, the stock gets cut in half. If you cut the amount of shares in half, that means that the stock is going to double in price. Matt, can they cover their short positions in a dark pool? Yes. Would that prevent a squeeze? No. You cannot hide how much? 97 million worth of shares covering in a dark pool. That would have a dramatic impact in the price of the stock, even if it's covered on a dark pool. So yes, you can cover on a dark pool, but that would still impact price action. Matt bought 60 call for August 20. What's your opinion? Not financial advice. 60 call for August. I mean, if we get this base, for me, if I were you, I would be specifically watching for the breakout of 42 and then 50. If we're even in the realm of touching 50, I mean, if I were you, I'd have a big smile on my face. AMC and IWM diverged pretty wildly at open first 30-minute jitters, or what do you think? I trust your answer more than others. Love you, Matt. Remember, correlation isn't necessarily like a minute-to-minute tracking. Not exactly that. I would say more of on a larger time frame, over a couple hours, couple days, I would care about that. But market opening, there's just so many announcements going on right now, especially with earnings. Like, it's what's referred to as earnings season. You're gonna have some big ones, so that could produce some volatility right at open. Another reason why I think it's worthwhile to just sit, be calm those first couple minutes, and just see how things are truly shaking out. Have you looked into DTCC 9031 filed yesterday? No. I was looking more into the 010 that a lot of people have been talking about. 010 was like kind of the hot topic, and some people were trying to connect it to a controlled squeeze. I personally do not think it has anything to do with a controlled squeeze. And in fact, I think Trey, you guys all know who Trey is, he posted a really good video explaining what it is and what it isn't on his video last night. I believe he called it fire extinguisher. So if you want to know what that role is, the rule is 010, and why it doesn't really relate to controlling a squeeze, I would highly recommend checking out that video. Matt, if there were shorts that didn't cover with GME at 480, why would we expect them to cover any time before that? But Tyler, I guess, where are you getting that there's shorts that didn't cover? The average age is way less than what? That's 6 months ago. It might be true. I'm just like wondering where you're getting that, because I myself have not come across any source that says the shorts didn't cover. We saw a dramatic drop in the short interest right after that. If we pull up here, actually on GME, sorry. the short interest. Yeah, right here. The short interest as of January 18th was 14th, excuse me, was 131%. After all of this craziness, it actually ended up coming all the way down to 12%. And right now we're higher at 13.8, but in this time period of January and February, we saw millions and millions and millions of shares being covered and shares on loan being returned. Like millions and millions and millions. Man, Nasdaq is not holding. Nasdaq, so this is the Apple, Microsoft, Google. They're major players within the Nasdaq 100 getting systematically walked down this morning. AMC 36.66, and then GME 171 right now. So the Russell 2000 looking okay, but the Q's getting hit, and I'm assuming the SPY is also getting hit. SPY also getting hit. So a lot of red across the market today. Volatility is up, obviously, but we are seeing red in the market. GME, lots of red. Lots of red. Apple down 2.7%. To me, that's a surprising reaction. I mean, the earnings they beat, but I guess people are very concerned about this chip thing, which, to be fair, makes sense. I mean, if you're having a chip shortage, how can you then sell product? Ding-a-ling, thank you. We did this. What's going on with Tilray this morning? No clue. I know that the marijuana industry has not had the best. Oh, wow. Up 19%. Something's going on with Tilray. It's running from $14 up to $15.25. So if you've been in that for a while, congratulations. How is also up? It looks like what other ones do we have? SNDL. It looks like the marijuana industry at large is up today. Interesting. People are saying that they had a profitable quarter. They had their earnings. Obviously, that's boding well just for at large the marijuana industry. MJ is an ETF that tracks the marijuana industry, and that's up 4%. So obviously, that's what's referred to as a sympathy play. When you have one good earnings, people think that's going to be then indicative of other companies within the industry, that similar related industry. And obviously, people are buying up MJ now. Did that. Tilray running. Orange shorts in the money right now based on average days. Some are and some aren't. Just because it's average, that doesn't mean all of them. Similar to the other situation, when on average they were underwater, that never means all of them are underwater. People have said sales are being put into blocks and sent to dark pools to read the price. What's your take on this? And can we ask Dave Lauer about it? My take on it is like, are they, I guess, doing block trades? Yes, but you could do that on dark pools or even not dark pools if you wanted to. But specifically, I think you're asking of like, is that having an, I guess, a greater magnitude impact on the stock price than a lit exchange? That's something I could definitely ask Lauer about. Take a look at the ticker MOGU when you can. Let me know your thoughts. I saw some good stuff on it. Can you confirm and let me know if I'm way off? MOGU. MOGU. I'm not seeing. I would not touch this. If I had to trade it, I would bet against it. But a weird pump yesterday and it's already selling off. It's down 12%. It doesn't look like it's going to catch itself. This is, in my opinion, a not good looking chart. I wouldn't trade it. If I had to, I would bet against it, but that's just my own opinion. Robert, I wish you luck, but I have, it seems really weird to me. It seems like it pumped yesterday, high volume. The volume is now not existent. I would not touch this one. Matt, if you ever go to prison, just know half of us will be crowdsourcing your legal fees while the other half attempts to break you out. What's going on, Mikey? What effect will FOMC meeting have on SPY in the market overall? Great question, Zach. It depends on what they decide to say and do with inflation. And really, we're looking for their commentary on if they're going to keep running with this fact. They keep saying that inflation is transitory, which is just a really fancy way of saying that it's temporary and to not worry about it. That's been their going commentary thus far. So if they say that and they're saying, hey, no, like we're still going to keep interest rates low, look for the stock to go, like the overall market to continue upward, especially if they're going to keep buying bonds. But if all of a sudden they start changing their tune on it and being like, hang on, this inflation thing might be worse than we thought, we're going to raise interest rates and we're going to stop buying bonds, I would then look for the market to take a healthy dip. Would it make sense for some of the first hedge funds to cover while price is lower? The first ones, it depends. It depends on if they think it's going to go lower. Their whole idea is exactly opposite of ours. We are looking to get out at the highest value possible. They're looking to cover their shorts at the lowest value possible. If they think that this is the lowest value, well, then they're going to cover. But if they think it's going to go even lower, well, they're going to hold their position then. And remember, the methodology and the trading, I guess, plan or goal is going to be different. It's not like all hedge funds have the exact same short plan and thesis for the current scenario. Certain ones have higher risk tolerance, other ones have lower risk tolerance. They've hedged in different ways. Some of them might not be hedged at all. Other ones could be long and short simultaneously. Some might have a short and then they're hedging with call options. Some of them could be short and then they're selling premium. Like there are various ways to hedge, and that doesn't mean that they're all hedging in the same way then. Calendar days or trading days? Trading days, Daniel. BB is making some moves this morning, cheap options, but also careful because I feel it may be used as a distraction. Some odd things with certain people in AMC pumping this now not isn't adding up to me. Oh, I haven't heard much about BB. Is it having a strong day? Yeah, up 5.8%. I would be closely watching 1090 slash $11. See if it can actually break above that. And then from there, it sets up 1190. So 1090, then 1190. If you're in BB, I have no BB position myself. Thank you for all you do, SPRT. So SPRT does have a considerable short interest, but it gapped up and it's selling off. When it does this, this throws off every red flag in my head. When a stock gaps up and then the market isn't accepting the new price and it starts to get sold off, I hate that. It's one thing if this can turn green, but if it's staying red, I would be more paying attention to a gap fill back down to 7. So like a whole dollar from here, which would be an additional 12.5% drop. Not a fan of when it does this. A gap up and then you see red, that means something's not adding up and people aren't happy with the new price. Luis, prior to the chip shorted, SOXL was on fire. Do you think it's a good time to get into semiconductors now while they're down? You could also watch SMH. This is an ETF that tracks the semiconductor industry. If you ask me, it's just doing a whole bunch of chop, just a whole bunch of sideways chop. I like the semiconductor industry, but the chart has just been boring. It's just not really going anywhere. So you either have to be patient and buy it off support, a low value, or if you want to be aggressive, you could buy it on a breakout, but it's just not really going anywhere. You asked about SOXL. Looks very similar to SMH. Overall, just a whole bunch of sideways chop. So not, to me, that's a tough trade because you're just trading chop then. I wouldn't, you were saying that it's low. I wouldn't argue it's low. I would say it's in the middle of its range. All right. AMC currently at 36.50, GME at 168. All right. What other questions we have? Joey Face, hey man, we got to get some good karma going. IWM pushing. Are the Qs still selling? All right, all right. All right, bouncing back. People are now buying the dip in the Qs, and I would assume also the S&P 500. Come on, we got to get some enthusiasm going. So this is actually the first day in a while that there's been a clear intraday divergence between IWM, AMC. Probably more related to a political thing, if I had to guess. But anyway, in AMC and Jimmy, RSI severely oversold right now. Severely oversold. Here, folks, let's stand up. Let's stand up for these stocks. Severely oversold. Actually, oversold to the point might be a good opportunity. What do we have rocking today? All right. Alrighty. Can sub $1 stocks with no options be shorted? Yes. Yeah, I mean, it depends on if your broker can loan you shares. If something can be shorted, it's just you need to find shares to short. It doesn't necessarily relate to no options. Does not relate to no options. All right. AMC trying to get this bounce. It's currently at 36.60. GME also trying to bounce. It's at 169. The Qs coming right back. Might just be a classic V thing. Sub, what else do we have? Come on, AMC. IWM just not really. Oh, Apple's coming back. Is Microsoft coming back? Microsoft flat on the day. And then we have Virgin Galactic up 3%. SPCE. All right, 36.50. Let's do a quick Ortex check. So for GameStop, short interest of 13.9%. They borrowed 90,000 against it. Not big. They borrowed 715,000 against AMC already today. The short interest continuing to track upwards. Let me point this out to you. Definitely on its way up. Remember, this jump up and then the jump down had more so to do with Ortex recalibrating its estimations of what's going on. But overall, the general theme has been a trend upward in the short interest ever since basically mid to early June. Mid to early June. All right, what other questions do we have? We don't need this. I was looking at that golden dragon thing, PGJ. Honestly, never traded that. First time actually hearing about it. Got an ADS termination email on my CHU stocks. It said it'll pay you back to buy the stock. Did they get back paying dividends as well? Div. Is it paying dividends? Well, not if it's going to be taken off. It's not like you'll continue to get the dividends into the future. Not if they're taking it off the market. Can you look at NLST in discovery versus Google in court? We could definitely take a look at the chart, but if it's in court, that's going to be a binary event of if it does or doesn't win. Ooh, this is a tough one. It ran up and now it's consolidating. Look for which way it breaks this wedge. This is more of a bullish pennant. Like if it breaks upward or breaks downward, I would want to either see it make a newer high, a new relative high, or a newer relative low. And then that's how I'd base it. But right now it's in no man's land. That one would definitely need a bit of patience on that play. Come on, AMC, coming back. Have you seen the viral video of Elon screaming "Daddy Doge"? I have not. I have not personally, but if you're in it, I wish you the best of luck. I don't really see how the newer, I guess, like meme coins, I don't see how they'll take over from Doge. I feel like Doge has already filled that space pretty well, like first mover advantage. Um, it's tough for me to see how like and I use this term lightly, like, but a Joe coin, I don't know how any of those ones would beat out Doge, like kind of the original OG one. Hey, Mr. Danger, thanks for all you do every day for us. About 200 shares yesterday in small blocks. You think that was a good move? Let's look at the bigger picture. I think I could give a better explanation here. You're basically looking for it to hold this support between 33.50 and 30. Well, let's just call it 35. You're looking for it to hold here and get some follow through on a higher low. You want this new low to stay above it because that means potentially an overall trend reversal in AMC. Ever since what? I don't know, let's call it roughly June 21st, the trend has been down and then sideways. We want this sideways to then turn upward. So we want the new low, what we saw on July 23rd. We want that to be an official higher low relative to July 19th. We want the change of trend. Through danger. ADF. NVIDIA will be the big winner in the chip shortage. Scotty, in terms of the chip shortage, I'd like to believe you just because I love NVIDIA. I have a lot of NVIDIA and I plan on holding NVIDIA for quite a while. So I hope you're right on that. But overall, I'm still a fan of AMD. I'm still a fan of Intel. I just think NVIDIA is clearly the gold standard from a technology standpoint that everyone else is trying to chase behind. Matt, I bought a call on SNDL learning options, low risk play for me. It expires on August 6th. Call was for 80 cents. If you look at SNDL, it's ripping. Do I hold, sell? Not financial advice. You would hold it as long as you think it's going to continue upwards. If you think its run is over, that's when you would want to capture profits. So that's, I mean, I don't know when the run will be over. So that's when it comes up to you and your more of your chart reading abilities, or just whatever your trading plan is. If it can get above 89 cents, I think that would be very... Watch 89 cents and watch 96. But you do have resistance 89, 96, a dollar, and then 106, 107. Those are the major levels I would personally watch if I were in SNDL. But as of now, I have no SNDL position. But when you get into it, and I want to stress the importance of this, you have to have a trading plan, man. Don't create a position and then say, oh, what's my trading plan now? Like when you got into it, at what point you have to know when you would or wouldn't get out. So that's up to you. That's your trading plan. Make sure it's well defined. Can we get a hodl yodel? Happy birthday to Tito. That's been converting all of his family into apes, even the young ones. Moon Gang. Love Tati and Derek. Matt, how will we know when there are no legal shares to borrow to short and they can only do naked shorts? One of the easiest ways to know, maybe not like completely stop, but when it's much more difficult, is when utilization is at 100%. As of now, for the legal shares that are easy to find, there's about 10 million more to go. About 9.8 million more to go because utilization is only at 90%. And remember, this is the percentage of the pool that's out on loan. But right now with 90%, and we're at 97 million, some quick math, that means we have about 10 million more to go if someone wanted to rent those out on loan. I think I've been stuck in my own echo chamber and need my reality check. I'm down bad. Please look at MMAT. Inside AMC is not a dead cat. MMAT. MMAT. It really looked like a quick pump and then a dump, and now it's not really doing anything. This is coming back to what I was just saying. Of like, you have to have a plan. No matter when you got in, you need to know what your risk tolerance is. At what level would you be like, you know what? I just got this play wrong. That's how I would have personally looked at MMAT. We saw the volume spike. It sells off. The volume dies off. I don't know what's going on with this one, but it looks like it's doing a whole bunch of nothing now. So it's probably just like eating up your capital. That doesn't mean it can't. Like it might run. I just have not really been following it, but I can tell you I don't like its chart. Maybe in the money IWM calls could generate income for AMC cannon fodder. Thoughts, definitely not financial advice. In the money calls. That's a very conservative way to play it. If you think it'll continue upward, if you're looking more for a income generating thing, you'd want to probably sell premium. It depends on like what your specific goal is. I am not the biggest fan of playing in the money calls or puts. I would either rather play out of the money calls or puts, or maybe at the money, but in the money. But that's me. It's I guess my trading style. I'm a little bit more risky. If I want to do a conservative play, I'd rather just sell premium. Error message on E-Trade when trying to sell at close. We did not find enough available contracts for this security in your account. What is this? Keith, it sounds like you might already have a pending order. You might want to check that, make sure you have no orders, because the order might be filling up some of that space, and that's why it thinks you don't have enough. EDU looking like a good gap fill play. EDU. It depends on how it reacts to $3, basically, because this will be resistance. Could be a good gap fill play. I'd be hesitant. I'd keep my risk really, really tight, just because all it's been doing is downtrending. So you're trying to fight against the trend. And sometimes that's a good play, a good reversion play. But I would, if you're in it, you have to, I wouldn't let myself risk more than this $1.94 point. If it breaks below that, I would cut my loss and be like, hey, at least I tried. If you are in it, I would pay attention to $3 and see how it reacts there. But please, please mind your risk. Please, please, please. The Qs, the Nasdaq 100 bouncing back very, very quickly. Apple also making a comeback. Microsoft green. And then where's Alphabet? Google also green. Okay. So the big techs that reported after the market closed yesterday, bouncing back. GME continuing to sell off, 165. AMC at 36.22. Keith, yeah, if you have no open orders, it might be a way that like you're executing it on their platform. I know it could get a bit confusing. I've used E-Trade myself. Yeah, maybe ask them. I'm assuming it's going to be a simple fix though for you, which is obviously good. All right, where are we at today? What does this mean? All right, we're looking for this to bend right back around in terms of AMC. We are seeing some official bullish divergence in the RSI. For those of you who are new, let me explain what that means. So on the right, we have GME. That's not having the best day, but let's take a look at AMC. The stock has gone lower, but the RSI is slowly going higher. That's a mismatch. RSI maps out momentum. This tells us that there's less bearish momentum, i.e. more bullish momentum recently than there was at the previous low, even though the stock's gone lower. This is referred to as bullish divergence, and it's commonly followed by some sideways trading or even a reversion. So I'm thinking a lot of day traders and swing traders who have been paying attention to the volatility in AMC might be looking at this, be like, hang on, someone is starting to buy, less people are starting to sell. Let's see what's going on. So we're looking for this bounce back and then really a breakout of 36.9. Let's just call it 37. IWM being weird. Q's coming back very strong. Hey Mac, BB is not a distraction, but a lot of your viewers would like to watch at least while it's moving. Thanks for everything you do. I mean, I can throw it up. Baby, baby. I mean, it's having a good day. I just need to make this clear. I have no BlackBerry position. It's one thing if you already have it, but do not chase. Chasing is so incredibly bad. If you chase right now, there is a chance it just gets rejected. This is a previous resistance. You don't want to be the person bag holding, and you especially don't want to be bag holding at the all-time high. This is not, I don't know how to make this more clear, but this is not the time, in my opinion, to get BB. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, it's your money. You're in charge of your own money, but to me, it would be a bit too risky. It's all I see on Twitter. Elon shouted out Daddy Doge. It's interesting that there's like coordinated super chats that want me to talk about Daddy Doge. Like if you've noticed this, every day we get a couple and they're all about Elon talking about it. It's interesting. I don't know. It's like kind of like a guerrilla marketing campaign that they're like, oh, like we'll spend money on this Kohrs kid just to say Daddy Doge. And it's all the same thing. It's just about like Elon, something weird about it to try to get people into it. GME today, ouch, I'm still buckling up. This $5 is for the mods, not you. Great job today. Grateful for the community. Shout out Big Shop. And obviously, shout out to the mods. They kick ass day in and day out. Do you think hedgies know they're going to have to cover because it never really been part of the business model? Well, of course they have to cover. It's just a question where. Are they covering for a profit or covering for a loss? But they know they have to cover. Like that's how you get out of the position. They're not going to endlessly hold it short. No open doors. I bought the option yesterday. Oh, open. Okay, well, Keith, let me know how that goes with E-Trade. Oops, did that freeze for a second? Sold 200 shares Monday to make some option plays for this Friday on the 38, 39, 40. Feels bad, but learn from my mistake to just hodl people. What's going on, Drake? Hey, that's what this whole process is about. It's about a lot of new people finally learning new stuff about the market. All right, AMC still with that bullish divergence in the RSI 3640 for my audio listeners, and then GME's at 166. What else do we have? All right. AMC looks like it's coming right back around. I like it. HODL wish Elon Musk is doesn't matter what the price says, shorts have not covered, so we HODL. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are trying to like overcomplicate what's going on. And it's really, are the shorts still in it? Okay. Do you still want to bet against the shorts? Well, then you have your shares. Um, it's the perception of anything in of life, of like if it has value. If you think right now it trading at 36.44 is undervalued and it's going to be worth more, well, that means you buy. Like that's just, if you think it has more value than it's currently trading at, well, then that's an advantageous scenario to buy. What do we have? Actually, oh, he read mine. Still holding. Hedgies won't get this ape board to the moon. Doge and other meme coins seem like a passing fad. I've been reading a lot of DD about Ripple XRP that is designed from the ground up for banks. I actually think that Ripple is going to do pretty well if the lawsuit goes in its favor. And once, I'm not a lawyer, like you should not be taking legal advice, but to my understanding, it does look like the good chance of the lawsuit going in its favor. Up 600% on $212 yellow calls for BB, banked half and letting the house money ride, reversal in AMC, and it will be a good day. What's resistance on BB after 1190? I would say first let it get to 1190. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I brought it up here. 1190. I would then watch. Ugh, this is kind of ugly. I guess 1360 roughly. Roughly. Wow, Q's coming back with some strength. Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. That one's so tough to say. Will you please look at NLST patent case against? Yeah, so we actually looked at NLST. If you just want to rewind a little bit, we pulled that up. I think I need stockholders anonymous. All I do is buying these dips. I mean, I would be on the seat right next to you. Save me a seat when you get there. Definitely save me a seat. Don't forget to hydrate, team. Hydration is key. Hydration is key. Quick coffee break, folks. All right, let's see what the Russell 2000 is doing. Ooh, getting hit. Russell 2000 doing weird stuff. Come on, AMC. All right, we're going to drop the RSI for now. We already know that it's oversold. Here we go. Here we go. Kelly Ripa, you know the drill. You were supposed to have potential. She would never do that. Oh, the dip. Or as I like to think of it, a nice discount. Just a beautiful discount. What do you think about AEI? Bought it at 5. AEI at 5? I don't know if I would have held it. I mean, what's your risk? It just made a new low. Like it sounds Alonzo, you have to have a trading plan in there, man. Like it looks like you blew past your risk tolerance, or maybe you're risking maybe $2 flat, but like whenever you get into any position, what is your risk? AEI, like I'm not seeing much. Like you might get lucky with a reversion bounce because it seems to be seriously oversold, but I'm not seeing anything too redeemable about this chart, man. Duckman, where Dave? As of now, the plan is for me to interview Dave on Friday and then post it this weekend. It's going to be a long form interview where we ask all these questions because there's a lot of misinformation going on about dark pools and payment for order flow. So that interview, as of now, he's a very busy man. As of now, it's penciled in for Friday, and then I'm hoping to post it this weekend. Is Tilray still running? It is. Wow. 22%. Must have really destroyed earnings. Theoretically, a market crash or pullback could induce margin calls and AMC squeezes from there. If the ones who get margin called are the ones who are also shorting AMC, then of course, because they might have to cut the position or give up more collateral. But that seems even a little tough now because of that new 010 rule, which I highly recommend you watch Trey's video on that. Shout out to Justin, Craig, Alonzo. Can we get word of the day? I may fill the gap, but acting really like support right now. Shout out. It's weird that your name is Thanksmack. Can you like? It's weird for me to say that. Any news on MVIS? I have not seen anything on MVIS, Seth. Word of the day. Word of the day. Today's stream is brought to you by Bivouac. To take shelter, often temporarily, to provide temporary quarters, to make temporary encampment under little or no shelter. Bivouac, bivouac, bivouac. It's a verb. How do you? You could say, I feel like I could use these words in my update videos, but you could say something along the lines of AMC shorts have bivouacked in the lack of market transparency and various loopholes, but the apes are quickly going to destroy that shelter. Bivouacked. What a word. BIVOUAC. Bivouac. It's a verb. Hedge funds have bivouacked in the lack of market transparency, dark pools, payment for order flow, and other weird things that they've been able to use. Bivouacked. I like that. I want to write this down so I can use it in the update video. That's what I need to do. Not only do a word of the day, but then for everyone seeing it in the stream, I'm gonna always try to like secretly put it in the update video that evening. All right, AMC looking hungry. No longer allowing the bivouacking. It's just fun to say. Give it a whirl. See if you can integrate it in your own vocabulary in conversations today. The Urban Dictionary word of the day. All right, let's look that up. Bricked up. I can't read this. Fly the sale app. Bricked up. If you want to laugh and there's no children around, you can look up the Urban Dictionary word of the day. You're gonna bivouac. It's pronounced bivouac. That's not what Merriam is saying. Bivouac. Bivouac. It's bivouac. It's the three, according to Merriam-Webster. Bivouac. Bivouac. That's what at least Merriam is saying. All right, AMC coming back around here. Let me mark out the red green moon 3801. Looking hungry. AMC looking hungry. 3801. Right there. Right there, right there, right there. Matty Ice, what's your take on Sava? It's been running forever, not going to change, just trying to make sense of it. School me, please. Thanks for all. So L. Randall, who is an OG of this channel, has been in Sava for quite a while. What's it been doing? This, for me, in my trading style, is not the time to take a position. If you're in it, congrats, let it run, but you don't want to create a position at the high. Don't be the person chasing. We talked about this of how in life, it might be really, really cool to be late to the party, but not in the stock market. You want to be in before the move. You don't want to be chasing. You don't want to be bag holding, all that stuff. You might make some money once in a while, but I've seen it too many times that, yeah, you could get lucky, but if you do it enough, one of the times you're going to get seriously burned and blow up your account. Body gains, 75% borrow fee, 3 billion market cap with 300 million in quarterly revenue. Check out the part. Body. Isn't this Beach Body? I'm more of a fan of going long on Krispy Kreme donuts if I had to. The chart looks weak. If it breaks below 980, I think it's going to keep coming down. So watch it to hold 980, and if it bounces off of it, look for a breakout of 1140. But the chart, it just requires patience right now. Butcher Box, no, they're not sponsoring today. Today is just sponsored by words. Words, words, words. Currently selling real estate in Texas. Not sure if you heard this, but I've verified with multiple lenders that rates are expected to drop again. Oh, wow. Again? I mean, aren't we already like near zero? All right. AMC cruising, cruising, cruising. Oh, just so everyone knows, hang on, let me get this up. As AMC's looking purdy, 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 purdy. So like I said, the interview with Dave will be coming out, and then we're going to be clipping it into the individual questions, and those will be posted here. Matt Kohrs clips, it's linked in the description of the video. This is the backup channel for now. We also have a backup Twitch channel, Matt_Kohrs, same as Twitter and Instagram. There, day over day, is more and more scamming accounts. Please be careful. Please, please, please be careful about those scam accounts. Don't send your information to anyone. Don't send money to anyone. Please verify who you're actually talking to. Check out Daddy Doge, secret project that no other crypto has done before. So this is the third super chat about Daddy Doge. This seems like still some weird guerrilla marketing campaign. 3 different accounts all saying relatively the same thing about Daddy Doge. So I don't know. I would recommend that people, I don't know, express some caution, because if something's that of high quality, you don't need to like super chat a duck guy on YouTube to talk about it. Please make a Twitter hashtag about dark pools and Gary G. Gorilla Champ, I thought the one today was more of an AMC vote one. That's the one I was seeing earlier this morning. I could double check because they've been running with the dark pool one now for the past 2 days. I'm seeing AMC Squeeze, Space Apes, AMC. Is there one trending today? I'd have to look into that. I thought it was more of an AMC vote one. Hey Matt, thanks for everything. But for those whose girlfriends have pet parrots, you cannot do the pretty thing again. Sure, Joe Mama. Happy. Funny. All right, AMC trying to hold this breakout right at 37. IWM still getting hit. BB taking a breather. How's Tilray doing? Tilray also now taking a breather. This is exactly why you don't chase a stock. It would have been one thing if you were trying to day trade it and you got in when it started bending back up around here, around 10.06, but I would have used my risk at 15.55, so I would have been stomped out of the position already. Someone said talk about Tesla. What's Tesla doing? Whoa. I mean, it looks good intraday, but it's daily chart. It's an inside candle, so not much of a direction, not much of a trend. How are the Qs still doing? Qs coming back. AAPL. Look at this bounce back in Apple. 142 up to 147. I love Apple. Apple is definitely a core position in my like overall like retirement account. How's Nvidia doing today? Same thing. Nvidia. Ooh, Apple and Nvidia look the exact same. Do they all look the same? Microsoft. Yep, Microsoft looks the same. Google looks the exact. Okay, so all these big tech plays are looking their intraday chart. Probably all looks like QQQ. I want all of you to understand the intense correlation between the indices and the indices that stock is actually in. So between the stock, look at the indice that it's being tracked in. A lot of the times you're going to see correlations such as this. Just wondering what stock is best play in your opinion, AMC or GME? Love your streams. I think you can't really compare them like that. They have two different floats, two different things driving them. Honestly, there is some community overlap between the two, of course, but sometimes of course there's a Venn diagram overlap, but on the outsides of that, you do have different supporters. So to me, they're two different plays, and I don't want to miss this ship on either, so I'm long on both right now in my own account. Thoughts on ASTR? Test launch is planned this year's Deutsche Bank price target 13 ASTR. The Q's still ripping ASTR. I mean, I don't know what Deutsche Bank is seeing, but to me, this does not look good. It's one thing if it spins back around and breaks above $9.50, $10. That's a different story. But for now, it's sold off and it's just sideways. I don't see any buyers stepping in. OUST. Kind of the same thing. Might be a reversion play. I would prefer to get it at the support of 830 though, personally. But once again, I have no position on OUST. I have no position on ASTR. How's this buy looking today? GME trying to hold on to 165. This is a support, so let's fingers crossed that it holds. AMC tried to break out of 37, got rejected, but we might be seeing a higher low in this bend back around. Hey Matt, idea in case YouTube goes crazy with harmful and dangerous again, send your OnlyFans link so you can be sexy and dangerous. PS happy B-Day. What's going on, Christopher? I appreciate that. GME not having the best of days. I very much want this to hold right here. How many shorts borrowed on GME today? Good question. Let's check that out. 90,000, not too many. Short interest of 13.9%. AMC 719,000. Let me just reload to double check this. 719,000. Short interest of 15.08%. Don't forget, if you own shares as of June 2nd, that's the date of record date, you will be able to vote if you're in the US, essentially. So please vote if possible. It's always good. Vote. Let me get this over here so we can explain that more in the afternoon session. How's crypto looking? Crypto not doing too much. Any breaking news? Any breaking news? Meme stocks are hiding in your 401k. How do I read this? That's funny to read. I believe Robinhood, which will be trading on the ticker HOOD. Is this up to date? Wednesday, June 30th. Something's off here. This is not. We're in July. I mean, I just read Trade Day. Let me reload this. Why is it off by a whole month? Here we go. Okay. S&P Dow indices announce, all right, that GME put into the S&P 400 mid cap. That's kind of awkwardly in between the Russell 2000 and the S&P 500, kind of mid range. It's a mid cap. Why GameStop is seeing Wall Street Bets chatter again. Rebrand EB Games in Canada to rebrand. What is this? GameStop announced that the company plans to rebrand EB Games in Canada by the end of the year. EB Games Canadian locations and online store will assume the GameStop brand and name. The decision follows our receipt of feedback from our valued customers and stockholders. All right. All right. Let's see what Investor Place is saying. GME trading sideways, technical take. Expected to report earnings on September 8th. This is for GME, just so everyone knows. What else do we have? Implied volatility is down. We're well aware of that. Okay, nothing too major. Let's see if there's any big options plays. No, we just want it for today. What do we have? So the top 3 spenders of the day are calls. This is another instance of us seeing weird things for January and December. December of this year, January of next year. But the 60 and the 19s, 174,000, 789,000. This is not a straight up bet. This is something weird going on. I don't know if it's a fund. I don't know if it's a market maker, but like weird action. We even saw more of it. 76. Someone is doing something strange for the end of this year and the start of next year in terms of AMC. For about a month now, we've been seeing sizable positions entered and exited for December of 2021 and January of 2022. But big money. Weird strike prices. 19, 60 makes sense. But this one's interesting. A 90 call for September 17th. $177,000. Huh. Interesting. Well, upon reading that, at least we're pushing this again. We might be setting up with a cup and handle. Do you have a SEP IRA and Roth IRA account? I have a Roth IRA, not an SEP IRA, but I definitely have a Roth IRA. Definitely. Woo, almost spilled my coffee, team. Almost. Stand up. Oh, let's double check. Hang on. Let me double check that the Robinhood IPO is tomorrow. Could be time to kick back with some of that popcorn and watch it all play out. Robinhood IPO date. No. Date. It should be July. Hood stock will be priced at $42 per share. It's going to be traded under the ticker HOOD. I am not. When is the date? In addition, it's because only directing 52.3 million. I'm not seeing a date, but I swore it was tomorrow, the 29th. Can anyone confirm that? I believe it's July 29th. Hey Matt, glad your account's back. Have you already looked at the short interest on SPRT, market maker liquidity issue, low float squeeze happening? Yeah, so the short interest is around 65% according to Ortex. And right now it's actually getting, oh wait, I should probably put up the right one. So it's up 10%, but it's still getting knocked down on the day. Looking a bit heavy to me. It might want to come down and test out $7. But it does have a high short interest, but I have no position and I have no plans on trading it. Can you explain? I lock in a market at 36.11 and it fills at 36.84, same amount of shares in total amount. Thanks. I lock in on market. If you're doing a market order, you're just getting gutted by the market maker. You have to do limit buys and limit sells to get that exact price. If you're just in market, I mean, it's literally just saying, get me shares for whatever you can get them at. And then you're just going to get front run by high frequency traders. Matt, did you ever watch Darkwing Duck? He was also dangerous, not nearly as harmful. I mean, not Inspector Gadget harmful, at least. Jimmy, blatant coordinated sale, 1 million volume in the first 20 minutes. It's not so much more than the average daily volume total. We all saw this coming with good news. Could be one of those things, buy the rumor, sell the news type of a deal. Possibility. But, I mean, to me, this is so blatantly obvious, but it's not just AMC and GME of just coordinated buys and coordinated sells. That's how we see like perfectly systematic run-ups, perfectly systematic sell-offs. There's in my opinion, and we see it in the chart, we see it in the price action. It's just too perfect. It's too methodically perfect, and it screams to me coordinated buying and coordinated selling. All right, I think I'm up to date over there. It's the 29th. Gotcha. Thank you. Charles Payne tweeted suspend dark pools. Looks the same. AMD looks the same. We're looking at that gap fill. Shout out to Thanks, Matt. Such a weird account name. I love it. SPRT, I would recommend, I don't know, expressing a little bit of caution with that one. Whoa. Oh yeah, sorry. Algorithmic trading. Remember, algorithmic trading is a little bit more of a general umbrella term. A type of algorithmic trading is high frequency trading. But you could have an algorithm that's basic and just says buy every Monday morning and sell on Friday right before close. That could be an algorithm. It just means that the computer is doing it for you. And a type of algorithmic trading is the whole world of high frequency trading, which is run by algorithms, but it's incredibly, incredibly advanced. If you want to read a book about high frequency trading and like kind of how it's detrimental to the market, I would recommend the book Flash Boys by Michael Lewis. It's a super easy read. It's a great book. I've probably read it like 2 or 3 times. It's a really, really good book. Check that out. Once again, it's called Flash Boys. It's by Michael Lewis. I don't know. I bet you could get like a paperback of it for like $10 or find it illegally somewhere. I don't know. But it's a good book. All right, AMC 36.54 and then GME is 165. GME was selling off, now it's sideways. AMC sold off, kind of bounced back. We're seeing if it can make this higher low, maybe bouncing off of 36.50. IWM does seem to be dragging it down though. Joey Face, what's going on? What else? Do you think market makers halt trades so they can enter? What do you mean? As in like front run people? I mean, I made a video that they've been fined for that. They got fined a little bit ago for $700,000 by FINRA for doing that. They didn't halt it. They marked it as inactive, which then required a manual, like a human trader, to like input the trade, and they were front running those people. It was like 415 out of like 559 or something like that that like FINRA looked into. It was crazy. Hi Matt, Java versus Python. Python for sure. Can we short Robinhood when IPO like same day? Yeah, I mean you have to be on a brokerage that allows shorting, and you have to have a margin account to allow shorting. I don't know if there's going to be a built-out options market for it on day one. Wrench is reporting as of 10 a.m. 86,000 contracts on AMC, 64% are calls. Trace Pex. Matt, our volume keeps disappearing. Any thoughts? We just see overall volume and volatility right now are continuing to go lower and lower. But please, this is a natural ebb and flow of the stock market. You have periods of consolidation, you have periods of expansion, and those are typically aligned with lower volume, lower volatility to higher volume, higher volatility. Please understand that that's a natural cycle. And on top of it, we're now naturally going in. It's the summer months. People are literally on vacation, just not trading, not paying attention. I would look for volatility to start to return. It just, I guess, we're still in vacation mode right now. So maybe it takes a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, but when it's the summertime, things are generally a bit more quiet in the market at large. Hey Matt, can you traverse a linked list? Yeah, you're reminding me of all my like software interviews. Is it a jaw? I'm gonna have to know if it's a doubly linked list or not, or is it single? Um, Going back to you, Trey's Pex. One thing I want to like clarify is with volume and volatility low, that doesn't change anything for us. It just means that you have to be more patient. I mean, if you own shares, your job, like you just sit there then. Like it's literally that simple. We're not paying a fee. We're not doing anything like that. You sit and you wait. If you're short a stock, well, that gets a little bit hard because you're somewhat timing it because you're paying a borrow fee. But for us, time is on our side. As long as they want to drag this out, as long as you don't lose patience, like we're just sitting here. You can buy when you want to buy. You can sit. If you want to watch me, go for it. If not, if you're like, hey, I have my shares, like wake me up when it starts squeezing. Well, at that point, we'll just go watch Netflix or something like that. The core aspects of what's going on, I don't think have really changed. It's, are there a lot of people betting against the stock? Yes. Are there a lot of people buying the stock that could eventually prompt a short squeeze? Also, yes. Okay. I don't think we have to necessarily like, not too much has really changed in the past couple months. There's a lot of people betting against it, a lot of people looking to squeeze them out of their position. One side's going to be very right and one side's going to be very wrong. And for me, I'm on the side of the apes. I think there's going to be a massive upward swing, but I'm also not a fortune teller. So if you want to take that risk, you're welcome to join Ape Nation. If you don't want to take it, that's okay. Trying to average down my position, wondering what happens to my average price if I sell a part of my position. Would it say if you sold a part without buying any, you wouldn't change your average? Unless you're selling like some blocks that you already own for like a year plus, but that's more like a tax thing then. But just in general, if you own 10 stocks at $10 and then you sell two, well, now you just own 8 stocks at $10. This guy's literally telling us to buy. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I don't know how to make that. It's weird that people try to accuse me of telling people to buy or sell when I go out of my way. Not a fortune teller, not a financial advisor. Do what you want. I'm letting you know that I'm long. I'm letting you know that I'm still in the play, but that's just my opinion. You need to do what you want. I'm not telling anyone to follow me. I'm not telling anyone to bet against me. I mean, you're an adult. It's your money. It's your play. Actually, where is that person? He's also spreading FUD. Let me kick him. I don't even know what this guy's actually trying to say. Let's get him out of here. Let's get him out of here. This guy's literally trying to get me to buy a duck costume. What's going on? Amy, Rich, Trey's Pecs. All right, hang on. We're coming back. We're getting this higher low. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Roughly this trend line. Let's see how it reacts, folks. $37.15. Let's see if we can make a new relative high. This is occurring as IWM. Some money's pouring into that. Same with the Qs. A little sell-off, a little bounce back. And GME flat, but trying to make a move. Some sort of move. Stop trying to get me to buy tulips. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who are you calling an adult, pal? What's going on, Moonshots? All right, I'll read that. It reminds me of the used car market in our area. It's going crazy high, but it's just because if you own the car, you decide what you want to sell it. If you own AMC, you get to choose what you want to sell it at. It's simple. You can hold the stock and decide what you want to sell it at. I want to sell it at a very, very high price, and I'll hold on to some of it and think AMC and remain in ape. AMC waking up. Ah ha ha ha. Man, one of these days, I hope I have the pleasure, the absolute pleasure to just say, AMC broke above 42, we're tracking towards 46. We get it up there, I want the pleasure of saying AMC broke above 46, we're tracking up to 50. And then that golden opportunity of saying AMC just broke 50, we are running. That's what we're looking for. That's what our fingers are crossed for. It's just once we start like turning the ship and building up momentum, I think a lot of people on the fence are going to be like, I want to be a part of this party. Let's buy it higher. Like as we track up, I think we're going to continue to track up higher. It's going to be almost just like that exponential growth type of a thing where it's real slow and we're fighting in the trenches. And I think there's just a lot of people on the sidelines who are like, I'll do it, but I want to see a little bit more strength. And I think that's what we're kind of waiting for is some sort of breakout above that gets all the people on the fence, all the people in the bleachers to really pile into it. What is AMC's real price? As of now, $36.90. That is the real price. That's the price you could buy it at. $36.91, $36.92. That's the real price. Hey Matt, what do you think about Noke stock current price and potential future? Love the channel, listen to you every day. Shout out. All right, let's check out Noke. It's kind of in no man's land. I would watch this wedge. You have a bull wedge, lower highs, higher lows, wait for the wedge to break, and you can play it like that. What do we have here? All right, back to the 3 minute. Back to the 3 minute. Do you think people are worried about another lockdown? I mean, individually, I can't speak for everybody, but in terms of the market, seems to not really care that much. We're not far away from its all-time high. So market is brushing it off. AMC moving up since that Greg sacrifice. I think we need more of that. Thanks for all the free education. Shout out. What's going on, Eric? Thoughts on Neo/Lucid? Good time to buy the dips while EV sector hit a bit. Also still on GME and AMC hoping for a turnaround soon. Moon gang. All right, Neo, I believe, was gapping up today, wasn't it? Ooh. So Neo had a crazy run from 30 to 55, and now it's in the middle. I would look for it to like officially make that higher low to get back in. Just so you know, I am invested in Neo for the long term. I haven't been actively trading it, but I got into it a while ago and I am holding that. EV, I like your concept of buying the dip. It's just like, is the dip officially over? You might want to wait for a little bit of confirmation in the charts. All right, someone asked about Wish. I like this support. The fact that it double bounced off of 882, I would use that as my main support, and I would be looking for the breakout of 1032. You should check out the video where the ex-CIA spy said that NSA has tracked $100 trillion that Wall Street laundered. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, trying to get you to slip up and caught in collusion. You're like a rubber duck in a bathtub. Everything just beads off. Keep on quacking. Matt, get rid of your bell and buy a duck call. So actually someone sent me a duck call and I have it. I'm just trying to get better at using it. Like I sound like a sad dying duck as of now. So I need to perfect my duck calling skills. Stop trying to get me to buy tulips. We all know that tulips are one of the best investments. We all know that. Wife thinks I'm crazy for yelling in the mirror. You were supposed to have potential. Yeah, but does she see how like good it makes you feel? Like, how like energized it gets you on the day? David Diaz. Shout out Adam as well. Just remember, please use the chat for questions. We'll break. Oh. Shout out. All right, what do we have over here? All right, we are coming back. Q still pushing, IWM bouncing, GME waking up. Let's just see, where's the volume going on AMC? A quarter mil, man, volume is disappearing quickly. We want the volume to pick up, get above this region, 3690 to 3715, currently at 3690 right now, just on the south side of this region of resistance. GME 167. Let's see if you can get above 168 to 169. Basically a recapture of 170, then 175. Hey Matt, not financial advice, but is it a better long EV play to invest in RQ or better to pick a few strong performers and focus on them? I mean, I'm in EV stocks individually and also ARQ at large just because I'm very bullish on EV over the next decade. The technology is advancing so rapidly. I don't think it's that much longer until EVs hit a price parity with common gasoline and diesel vehicles. So I'm in both. I don't know if one's better or worse. Like it's tough because you never know when there's like a smaller EV that might just start running. So like I pick the companies I think are good, and then on top of that, I'm also in it. But that's just because I'm very bullish on EV over the next, or I guess the remainder of the decade. Hmm. I'm not seeing how to go. Blah blah blah. I found. Hey Matt, checking if I have been banned, muted, or otherwise signs of my stupid commentary on all things. I don't think so. I'm seeing that 8-man Dan. Doesn't look like you're banned, muted, or otherwise. Check 1 2, but you're all good. You think if they stall this out long enough, some apes may get impatient and sell? That's a possibility, but I think we're also here to remind people that time's on our side and things are looking good in our favor as this goes. on longer and longer. So I think as an ape community, we need to remind each other of that. Drop a like, Matt, helps us. Oh, yeah, I would appreciate that. If you haven't already, if you could drop that like, it helps me out the YouTube algorithm, completely free. Don't forget, if you want to subscribe to the Moon Gang, subscribing also completely free. I was eating some super juicy cantaloupe yesterday and Ron me, remember that honeydew versus cantaloupe debacle? I do remember that. And I have another sad food story. Does anyone else think they're about to bite into a juicy, delicious peach and it ends up becoming a nectarine? Like you're all mentally prepared to eat an amazing Georgia peach, and then all of a sudden you bite into it, and like as your teeth are like getting into the fruit, you're like, uh-oh, this is a nectarine. And I have no issues with nectarines, but if I'm mentally prepared to about to eat a peach, I am horrifically let down if I find out that I have a nectarine in my hand. It horrible nightmares. I'm gonna have nightmares for weeks. Matt Kohrs, 28% institutional ownership in AMC. Check Fintel, Matt. This is huge. Retail of 80%. Naked shorts. No, because remember, 100% ownership is actually the least amount of ownership you could have. I know it's weird, but 100% is minimal. Is the minimum value. As soon as you have any shorts, ownership goes above 100%. Someone just said nectarines are better. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, AMC is waking up. Waking up. Nectarines are synthetic peaches. Oh, I love that. That's hilarious. I think you're right. So bold, so brave, yet so accurate. I'll have to tweet that out later. Nectarines are just synthetic peaches. Gonna send you a box of nectarines and peaches, and then you can play fruit roulette. It must be like a new one of the new games in Saw. Like that's the final thing in Saw that they have to figure out. Is it peaches or nectarines? I think that would be a good one in Saw. Peaches are just fuzzy nectarines. I like to think that nectarines are just naked peaches. All shares are owned by someone. Exactly, Ben. Thank you. Nectarines and peaches on pizza. All right. I think this is going a little bit too far. A little bit too far. Good stuff. Well, we're gonna, I mean, this is really a cup and handle setup. We have the cup, we have the handle, we're getting the big U followed by the other U. Let's look for this breakout of 37.15. There's great peaches twist in the film, Call Me By Your Name. Peaches twist. What's up with 23andMe? RSI is oversold. Is it a good time to jump in, or could it drop more? Stonks are us. Isn't that a recent IPO? I might still want to avoid that. 23. I don't know its ticker off the top of my head, but I thought that was a recent IPO, so it might not have enough information to be like truly oversold. Nectarine you thought was a peach or a honeydew? A nectarine that I thought was a peach. Like I was all ready to eat a peach. I wouldn't thinking a nectarine's a honeydew. Jeremy, we're crazy here, but we're not that crazy. I'm not a sensitive guy and fully believe in freedom of speech, but the guy that said nectarines are better than peaches should be permanently banned. I love it. All right, folks. So that's going to be it for the morning stream. Name of the game right now on AMC is a break of 37.15. Then watch, well, you could watch the intraday high 37.87, but really 38.01 is the red to green move. And then from there, you're watching that region from 40 to 42. In terms of GME, you're looking for it to get above let's call it 170, and then break above 175. And of course, you have the region of 180 to 185 on top of that. I will be back for the afternoon session. I have to do some stuff this this after like midday, but I will see you in the afternoon session. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. It looks like AMC is about to do some awesome stuff though. Look at this breakout and then watch 38 and then watch 40 to 42. But we're looking at the realistic movement of a red-green move. This would be phenomenal. I will see you this afternoon. Thank you for the support this morning. And then obviously remember, from me and Cher, best of luck in the markets.